Welcome to iCAN, the 7th International Innovation Competition. I'm Howard Lim, and I will be your host and providing a presentation on how to build a world-class brand and the power behind it. Let's get started. A brand is not your logo, product, or service, or your business. It's not what you say, it's what everyone else is saying about your brand. It really resides in the heart and the mind of the consumer. It's the expectation matched to experience. In other words, you have an expectation about the brand based on the advertising and marketing, and you need to match that experience. For example, if you had an opportunity to win a $20 million on a racetrack and drive one vehicle that's a 2022 Hyundai van or a brand new 2022 Ferrari, what would you choose to win that $20 million? Of course, the answer would be the Ferrari, but how many of you have actually driven one or neither of these vehicles? That's what it is to be branded in the mind of consumer, is when you have created an expectation in the mind of consumer that your vehicle, in this case, would be the fastest. There's three parts to building a world-class brand. Positioning, which is what's going to make you unique from all others. Your brand identity system, meaning like your website, the name of the product, the name of your company, that's going to wrap around that position. And then what's going to be absorbed in the mind of the consumer, which is called the brand image. You need to align all three. There's only two ways to create a brand, from the hip or by design. Unfortunately, most people are doing it from the hip. The problem is that most business owners are doing their own branding or hiring the wrong service providers, which leads to a generic, unfulfilled business potential. My friend Barry says, if it's not your genius, it's simply not your job. You need to hire a branding expert. What is the biggest asset for your company growth, scaling, and value? It's going to be your brand by design. The business doesn't run the company, the brand experience does. The brand mark anchors the story behind the brand. If you've done it properly, I'm not talking about a logo, but let's just say that you are Nike and you want to buy it from me, and I say you could have all the inventory, you could have all the retail spaces, and I say you cannot have the name or the swoosh. What is the company worth now? Not much. It's all that storytelling that's behind that mark that represents your brand if it's done right. Here's just a couple of examples of logos versus brand marks and how they've been transformed. I show you our own real case studies, so it takes it out of concept into reality of evidence-based proof. So here's a company that could not grow more than 2 offices where they place RN nurses into assisted home living. And they couldn't figure out why. We went through a strategy and we helped them figure out their positioning. We designed everything from their website to the collateral material. I'm just going to show you from the logo to a brand mark. They are very high end on a scale of 1 to 10. They kept saying their quality is an 8, 9, and 10, but they looked homemade, and that was a barrier for the consumer to truly understand and value them as quality driven. Once we got done with them, we created a brand mark that really truly represented them and was timeless in feel. We place a rose at the crosshair. The reason for that is because every morning they place a rose, the RN nurse places a rose at the foot of the bed. That's how high end they are. When we got done repositioning them as a world-class brand, they moved from 2 offices to 5 offices and then sold their facility, sold their business, sold the brand, and now they go sailing around the world. This is WSS, where they couldn't grow for during a recession. 50T retail stores. After we got redone branding them, they moved over 100 retail stores nationwide. Flying Dutchman can grow. For more than 40 years, after we got done with them in the first 4 years, we created 5 franchises for them. The list goes on. The point being is that it doesn't matter if you're a product or service or information that you're building, you need to be world class if you want to compete in this tight, highly competitive world. The other thing is brand marks transcend all language barriers. In other words, they work across the globe when they're done right. I'm going to move through some evidence-based case studies now of how this all comes together. Again, these principles apply to you regardless if you're a product, service, or information that you're selling. The principles, regardless, work whether you are a startup company or you exist already. So the first thing is a universal value proposition and having it unique from all others. The second, again, is to build an identity to reflect that unique value proposition. And a third is to create a perception equal to the brand experience. Here's an example of Sixth Division, leading software company, automated client journey, converts lead and creates online courses. They had lost their vision, they had an unclear message, and lacked a system and process for growth. Unrecognized in a brand identity, lack of company culture, and lack of a brand personality. We went through a 3-day strategy session, what I call master blueprint, to discover their DNA, what's truly making them unique from all others that are out there. Here's just a few examples of brand marks that we created for them to make them distinct and unique from all the competitors. This is the before, and here's the after. A brand mark they're proud of, and a brand mark that works universally, the size of a dime, to an app, to a billboard. And this is one of the products that they create as well, which is a software called Plus This. Here's what's called a brand manual to make sure that all of the third-party vendors are keeping continuity to their brand positioning. So therefore, everything looks unified from the tone, the voice of the brand, the right colors, the right font, the right brand promise, all done uniformed throughout the organization from inside to the outside. Here's just gives you an idea of what we did for them as far as their website is really getting clarity of who they are and a call to action. And you could see the continuity, the look and the feel, the use of colors, the use of fonts. Everything looks very professional. As a result, they're now an industry-leading brand, like-minded, hearted people culture, radical increase in sales and equity for brand value, and a system and process that is now scalable to grow them into millions of dollars. Hula Girl. Here's another case study called Hula Girl, ready to drink proprietary vodka, distribution and manufacturing. The challenge was an unclear strategy, unclear of their target market, and how to build a leading brand. No business and brand model, by the way, as well. All they had was really an idea to create a lifestyle brand. Went through a strategy session to really define who they were, what makes you unique, and why this matters to their customers. What we uncovered was to integrate the business between a business brand and consumer, create a philosophy, which is extremely important, why you exist to begin with, a vision, what legacy you're leaving behind, a brand promise, what are you promising from all others that no one else is promising? It's like the brand promise for FedEx is absolutely positively guaranteed overnight, for example. Intellectual property they could own because what they created was a lot of patents and trademarks. Culture that values that is also inspire. A customer journey for extended products. A lifestyle brand that works across all media. This is what we created for them as our final mark. And this is one that actually you could see a slight difference with the flower where it actually has what's called a tint to it, also known as a gradient. Here's how they would sit differently with all the major competitors, just to give you an idea of what we went through with the concepting. And then we figured out what fonts would really pair with them and what would be the colors that would resonate with them for each of their different drinks. And then we came up with the hula girl colors that would be used throughout all their products. It's kind of like, you want to own a color. It's like Coca-Cola owns red in the cola space as Pepsi owns blue. It's important that you start to understand why you want to own a color because it differentiates you in the marketplace and also your font that we want to be using for consistency. Here's how the product looks as a final deliverables and how they would sit on a shelf. Okay. This is now working in the merchandising of what will make their merchandising look different and to create that lifestyle image that we're looking for by being continuity with the colors as well. Also with the flip-flop designs, all the aloha spirit. And then we created our website to reflect also the aloha spirit. You could see the continuity of colors being throughout the entire layout of the website, telling their story, what's making them unique, and why people would want to become part of their tribe. As an end result, we had clearly defined what's differentiating them, a robust model to create an extended customer, not to shop once, but to shop many times for their product, and a lead generator that builds trust faster, and to build a culture that is prideful and confident, and of course, the intellectual property to create brand value and equity. So I leave you with this. Does your brand reflect the best etched image in the mind and hearts of your customers? How many of you receive value from this overall presentation of what it takes to build a world-class brand and the ingredients in doing so? Here's my contact information, my international number. I'm in Los Angeles, United States. And then my email and then my social media handles are all consistent as Howard A. Lim. Thank you very much, and congratulations for all of you joining us for, again, the 7th annual International Invention Innovation Competition, iCAN. Thank you, and have a great day.